Okay, so I'm gonna try and do the unthinkable and try and simplify introverted intuition, or NI. And I'm gonna do that with the help of a visual diagram and just simply try and explain the the basic process of how NI works. So let me just draw this up real quick. So in the introverted intuitive's mind, there's a lot of unconscious concepts. There's ideas, there's concepts, there's symbols. It's like an unconscious and subconscious library of all these different things, the person's experiences, the person's feelings, um, knowledge that they have learned, and all these things. So imagine the intuitive's cloud. It's like a cloud in their mind. It's like an NI cloud. And in this cloud, or this library, it has all this stuff stored. So this is like the cloud, and all these little dots are like different unconscious and subconscious ideas and and all that stuff. Stories, meanings, whatever, all that stuff that's in an intuitive's mind. So that's all there. Now, that's the part where all that is gathered and stored. But that stuff isn't really conscious, There it needs to come into awareness, into the person's awareness to become conscious. So there's also part of the intuitive's mind is this point in the center. It's like a processing space and like the awareness point. It's where objects come into awareness in the person's mind. And with NI DOMs, that's in the form of an impression or an idea that's been processed, and it ends up showing up in their like their mind's eye, basically. So let's think of an NI DOM in a situation. They're in a situation, they gotta figure something out with limited information. So with that limited information, what happens? They make the intention, they have the directive, the unconscious directive to figure this thing out, or to create something, or understand something real quick with limited information. So what happens is NI is going to try and take these limited pieces of the information, and it combines that with the stuff it has stored in its cloud, and its NI cloud, which is a lot of unconscious stuff. It's patterns that the person has recognized over time, information that's been gathered and understood, and just the basic person's knowledge and experience, along with all the archetypal concepts and symbolic meanings and stuff. So the NI DOM has to figure it out. What happens is, let's assume the information in the situation, it's already present here in the processing space. It's conscious. Now NI needs to fill the puzzle. So what happens is it pulls in these different pieces from the unconscious, and it mixes those together. It pulls in the information that's relevant automatically. It's all done unconsciously. It just automatically pulls in whatever's relevant to the situation, or what it needs to figure out or understand. So it pulls all that in, combines it with the information in the situation, and then what happens is an impression forms. an impression or idea of this it's to try and understand the situation or come up with some sort of answer. And it does this extremely quick, extremely totally automatic. And it can keep going through this processing, pulling in different information from the unconscious, mixing it together, forming another idea or impression, and then it keeps repeating that until it's satisfied with what it's come up, or even if it doesn't figure out, it might just hypothesize what's going on, or just come up with what any understanding it can of what's happening. So that's just it's just like a simple diagram I wanted to make of the whole process and what's going on there. So to sum it up, there's two parts of introverted intuition, two parts of the processing. There's like the cloud or the library where everything's been gathered over time, throughout the person's life, and it's there unconsciously and subconsciously. So that's the cloud. And then there's the processing space, which is like the person's awareness point in their mind. It's like their focal awareness in their mind. And what NI does, the process, the fundamental of the process is it mixes the two together. It mixes the unconscious information from the cloud. It pulls in those pieces, the relevant pieces to whatever it's trying to solve or understand or create. And it mixes those together and forms an impression or idea. And that's what comes into awareness in the person's mind. So in the example of let's say an INFJ walks into an abandoned house and they go into a room in that house. They see the room, they have that information. Now because of what's going to happen is the NI is going to start creating these ideas of what the place might have been like, maybe back when it was occupied, back before it was abandoned. So it has the information of the house, of the old abandoned room with all the whatever items are left in there. And what NI is going to do is it takes that information and then it pulls in from the unconscious these ideas and knowledge and symbols of like that it's gathered of what, like, let's say what life might have been like back then. And it mixes those two together, and suddenly in the NI-Dom's mind, there is this sequence or these images or feelings of what that place was like back when it was occupied before it became abandoned. And that's just a basic, just a general example of how NI would work. All right, so that should do it. If you have any thoughts about this or anything you'd like to add, any ideas, I'd like to hear it. So just you can leave a comment below or message me. And yeah, I hope you found this interesting. Thanks for watching.